There's one thing that skinny people do very differently compared to others who are overweight or might be struggling with their weight. When I use the word skinny, I am talking about slimmer, leaner, just smaller. If you already feel triggered by the word skinny, this is not for you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Achidi and I'm both a personal trainer and food educator. In today's video, we're going to be diving into something that I know you're going to find super valuable because it's a compilation of videos from women on TikTok who are going to be sharing their own advice and insights and some information on how to achieve a healthy body weight as a woman and how to maintain it as well. And so this one's for you ladies. Get ready to really learn something and see that it's a lot easier to get to a healthy body weight and maintain it for the long term. Before we get into it, I got a little bit of business to get to. Make sure you like this video because it's giving you some value and keeping you entertained. And you want to stay on top of all the videos that I put out each and every week? Make sure you subscribe. All you got to do is tap that button. It costs you nothing. And beyond that, I also got a free weekly newsletter that I put out every Sunday that's got simple health topics broken down so that you can take it, digest it, and thrive with it. All you got to do is look it down into the video description. You'll see the link, you get signed up, and it goes right to your inbox. We got all the business out the way. Let's get to our first video, shall we? We're going to get started with our first video giving out some very solid advice. As she goes through each of her tips, I'm going to pause and give my own little bit of context and a little bit more to it. So let's get right into it.
You know those people who seem to be able to eat whatever they want and put no effort into maintaining their weight? Yes, we're all jealous of them. I'm going to let you in on their secrets. As someone with a PhD in nutrition and behavior change who's helped over 30,000 women lose weight in the past 5 years, I've noticed 4 habits among successful women. Habit number 1, they actually do put effort in. It's a common misconception that I want to bust up front. Whether naturally thin people realize it or not, they are taking care of their bodies in ways I'll explain next.
She's spot on with that one. It actually does require some effort in order to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. The thing that she is leaving out is that with practice, that effort looks effortless. So everyone that can maintain and does maintain a healthy body weight did it by consistently putting into place certain behaviors and mindsets that made their healthy lifestyle a reality. So it wasn't like they just, wished upon a star or made 3 wishes on a genie bottle. They found a plan that made sense for them and they slowly put each piece of that plan together, and then over time, with effort and patience, they achieve the result. So no one gets it for free. No one maintains it without any kind of effort either. And she's going to get into some of the things that they actually do on the next bits of advice. Let's continue on.
The news is we can stop being jealous of these people and just learn from them. Habit number 2, they're active. People who are naturally thin haven't found the one perfect type of exercise. They all do different things, but they do move their bodies regularly. So pick a type of exercise that you like and incorporate it into your regular routine.
She's again hitting the nail on the head with that one. Staying active is not just about getting sweaty in the gym or doing some crazy boot camp or just doing miserable stuff you don't like. You got to do things you like and you do them with people that you enjoy doing them with. It's beneficial to get into some kind of a community. Often the gym community is one, but it's not the only one. There are like run clubs that are out there. There's hiking groups. You can join a bowling league. You can join a golf club. There's so many activities out there. If you like to dance, if you just find something that gets you up and off your ass and moving, and do it regularly, not every now and then. It has to become something that you do regularly, and pick something you enjoy. If you don't like running, you don't have to run. If you don't like the gym, you don't have to go to the gym. You just got to do things that are enjoyable for you, and that takes getting up off the couch and out there and doing something instead of continuing to do nothing but complain.
Habit number 3, they eat foods that they like. I like to call this being a food snob. People who are naturally thin are more choosy about what they eat. They prefer to wait and sit down to eat a full meal rather than snacking all day. They won't try the Costco sample if it doesn't look good to them, and say no to the free pizza at work if it doesn't look that appetizing. You can be a food snob too. Make a list now of the
What she's talking about here is delayed gratification. We are all being inundated with ads making us want to eat more, food in our environment making us want to eat it. Like, who among us doesn't have that break room filled with donuts or muffins or bagels, or they bring pizza because you did a good job at work, or just like she's saying, you go to Costco, the samples are out there, I got to eat them, you don't gotta. Sometimes it's better to wait. And I know it's not easy, but being at an unhealthy weight is harder than just saying not now. Notice, I said not now. I didn't say no. We're delaying the gratification, not depriving ourselves of it. She even says that people that can maintain a healthy weight, they eat foods they like, not everything in sight. And if you do like everything in sight, then you have to prioritize eating some things instead of everything, and never deprive yourself by eating nothing. Moderation is the key to delaying gratification. You can have the chocolate cake, you can have the cookies, but you can't have everything in front of you. So she says, make a list of the foods you like and stick to that list, and don't just stick to giving into your impulses.
Foods that you really enjoy. Focus your time and energy on those foods. Habit 4, they don't turn to food to soothe their emotions. When we're feeling overwhelmed, sad, stressed, many of us turn to food to make us feel better. The people who are naturally thin will turn to something else instead. Maybe they'll talk to a friend, maybe they'll watch some TV. It's normal for us humans to experience a wide range of emotions, both good and bad. Nothing is wrong with you for feeling stressed, overwhelmed sometimes, but an important skill to learn when we're losing weight is to find healthy outlets for our feelings instead of turning to food.
So that's the last bit of advice she gives. And again, it's a great bit of advice. And you can apply this to not just food, but shopping, drinking, recreational drug use. I'm guilty of being someone that turned to alcohol whenever my emotions got flared up. But she also points out that there are better outlets for your emotions when life just starts getting to be overwhelming. Call a friend, take a walk, do some breathing exercises, do something instead of eating. Finding healthier outlets like those activities that are on your enjoyable list to do instead of turning to food or talking to someone especially will always be a better solution than just going into your unhappy hole, turning to food or booze or whatever it is. You need to have a healthier way of dealing with your stress, because that's really what a lot of this is. Dealing with your stress in a healthier way, understanding moderation and self-control, and not just giving in to temptation. Hit the like button if you agree, comment if you don't. Let's go on to our next video, shall we? This lady's going to be giving out some of the insight behind the mindset that goes behind maintaining control over your body weight versus those that cannot control their body weight. Let's give it a watch and hear what she has to say.
There's one thing that skinny people do very differently compared to others who are overweight or might be struggling with their weight. When I use the word skinny, I am talking about slimmer, leaner, just smaller. If you already feel triggered by the word skinny, this is not for you. So skinny people view food as something that is optional always, and they are very deliberate with what they are eating. Here's what I mean by viewing food as optional. If they wake up in the morning and they're not hungry, they're not just gonna force themselves to eat because it's breakfast time. Or just because someone brought in donuts to the office, it doesn't mean that they're gonna eat it just because it's there. Or if they're going to a coffee shop and they see a muffin, they're not just gonna get the muffin because it's there. They're there because they're getting a coffee. Every single day in most of our lives, we are presented with the opportunity to eat food at so many different instances besides just the normal standard mealtime. For the majority of people who are lean or staying slim or skinny, whatever you wanna call it, they are aware that just because food is presented does not mean that they need to act on it. For the most part, they're incredibly mindful of what they're eating, when they're eating it, and how much they're eating. They know that just because they can eat it doesn't mean that they should necessarily eat it at all. Just because you can eat it or you get a craving does not mean that you should eat it or that you should act on it. Most of us know this, but really struggle with actually acting on it.
Did you get all of that? She breaks down the fact that the mindset is really the difference maker in having control over your body weight and staying skinny, as she called it, versus not having that control and struggling. I do understand that the way she's explaining it, she makes it seem like it's just something that you simply turn off in your head. Like you can just be like, okay, I don't care anymore. For many, it's understandably hard, if not near impossible. And that is a concept known as food noise, meaning that you're constantly being tugged at, tempted by, pushed towards eating food. And this is somewhat like having an addict-like response to something. It's the same way that someone who is addicted to hard drugs or alcohol or anything is constantly triggered and stimulated towards having whatever it is that they're addicted to. Thankfully, there's actually medications out there to help with that. And that's where Ozempic, Zepbound, and all those other kinds of medications actually help. And I'm not saying that you should just jump on medication and you'll be cured, not at all. But the medication works by calming down or almost muting that food noise, that constant drive to consume food, and that should make doing the work of watching your portions, making healthy food choices, getting active, and exercising easier. The medication does not replace that. It simply takes the internal roadblocks off so that you can do the work, do it well, and thrive with it. Hit the like button as we go into our third and final video clip.
Here are 3 habits that kept me overweight versus things I do now to have lost over 25 pounds and maintained it for the past 7 years now. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Soraya. I'm a certified macronutrition coach and I help women lose weight, keep it off without giving up their favorite foods. The first thing I used to do is use food as a reward. If I had a long day at work, completed a project, anything worth celebrating, I would use food to celebrate it. I'd open up DoorDash, order some pizza and Chinese food and just eat all of it because why not? I'm treating myself. There's nothing wrong with celebrating an accomplishment, but if every time it leads to you over-consuming food, that's a habit you need to pay attention to. What I do instead now is I go for a walk and just reflect, or I go for a walk and call someone and talk about the accomplishment so they can get excited with me. This is way more fulfilling and a lot less disruptive. Number 2, I used to have a fruity drink or a soda with every single meal. Like my meal was not complete if I didn't have a sweet drink to go with it. What I do instead now is I have water or I have a low-calorie soda like an Olipop or a Pop instead. These are only about 25 calories and still give you that sweetness. Number 3, I used to eat super fast. What happens when you do this is your brain and stomach don't have enough time to communicate with each other that you're full, so by the time you realize that you've already overeaten. So now I simply eat slower. Changing these 3 habits alone will make a world of a difference on your weight loss journey.
She gave some amazing and very simple advice, and I want to just kind of recap what she went over. The first thing she touched on, we've already talked about it with the other 2 clips. She used to use food as a reward. And that's one of the worst things that she did because she was always associating her emotions with food. And I would imagine if she used food as a reward, she also used it to comfort herself when she felt low, when she felt anxious, whenever she felt any emotion, she used food to handle it. And that comes back to that addict-like behavior. And as someone who used alcohol to deal with any of his emotions, I understand where her head is at. And for any of you that are struggling with using food as your coping mechanism, I get it. You must find other ways as healthier outlets like she has, like going for a walk, or especially having community, friends, people that you can talk to and celebrate the wins or help to process the losses, the grievances, the anxiety, all those things. Reach out and talk to people because that is going to help you out a ton. Second thing she talks about is how she drank a ton of her calories. Soda, juice, smoothies, all those things can be labeled as healthy, but they are all packed with a ton of calories. And she no longer drinks soda. She instead uses flavored sparkling water or just regular water or, things that do not come with calories or sugars that still provide her flavor and hydration. There's a ton of them out there, so I know you can find other ways of hydrating while you're eating your healthy meals. And the last thing she talks about is eating slower. I raise my hand because I've been guilty of it and still from time to time I'm guilty of it. There's about a 20-minute timer between our brain and our stomach that gives us a window to eat food. And then outside of that timer, it gets a lot harder to eat. And so if you're eating very fast, you're essentially packing way more calories in than your body needs. So you need to slow down, savor the meal, appreciate it, eat your meal with others and enjoy their company. Just basically don't scarf down your food while staring at your phone. As someone that was in a fraternity and wanted to make sure he got to eat his fill, I've been guilty of eating my food too fast too. And even currently, my wife gives me grief when she sees that I'm eating my food too fast because it tastes so good. So we all need to slow down when we're eating so we don't choke and we don't overconsume. I trust you learned something from all three of our video clips, ranging from a nutrition and behavior expert, to a skinny person talking about the mindset that keeps her skinny, to a former overweight person talking about what they used to do compared to what they do now at a healthier weight. Put your questions and your comments below. I'd love to have a discussion to help you on your own weight loss journey. In just a second, you're going to see the preview popping up for another video on my channel. This one is about the most deadliest diet here in America. You're going to want to watch it and make sure that you're not someone who is eating their way to an early grave. I'll see you on the next one.